Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Yona of the Dawn, chapter 232. When we last left our heroes, we got a first-hand example of just the horror and the chokehold that Chagol has on Mei-Nyan, as he's able to manipulate her into coming back to South Kai with him, and Chagol then tries to kill Yoon and Val and the Lily Squad. We eventually find out they get away, but we only find that out at the army's camp in the Earth Tribe, where the dragons are reacting to the burning of the palace, though the mausoleum at the basement of the temple must still be standing because the dragons still have their powers. And as everyone is reacting to the fact that something is happening at Kudo, and Yona's having these prophetic visions that she reveals about the dream she had before the war, Val and Yoon arrive at the camp with plans to head to South Kai to rescue Mei-Nyan, though how the Coca army will react to a South Kai general in their midst is that remains to be seen. So let's dive right on into chapter 232. We don't have a cover right away. We'll get to that eventually, I bet. The reunion with Yoon, who traveled from Hiryuu Castle. And we pick up right where we left off with Yoon revealing Mei-Nyan's capture. They captured Mei-Nyan? Yeah, Hiryuu Castle is also in big trouble because of the fire. And so that gets Kyoga, who's also with Yona and Hawk here. He's thinking so it was true. Because, Yona's been having these visions. And Yoon tells them all the remaining soldiers in the castle and the Sky Tribe are doing their best, but the casualties are serious. In any case, we have to catch up to Mei-Nyan or she'll be killed. And I saw some discussion online about whether or not Suwon and the Coca top brass would allow Yoon and Val to go through. And there still is the debate of Val being a South Kai general, do they let him pass? But Mei-Nyan knows about the Crimson Illness. So I think there's no way in hell Suwon and Kaisuk don't do something about Mei-Nyan. Even if it's just send an assassin, they're gonna do something, because if Chagol, for whatever reason, doesn't kill her, she might end up squealing. But anyway, Yoon is all raring to go, and Hawk stops him. Wait, you should rest for a bit. There's no time to rest, Thunder Beast. And then, he forgot. He never found out that Hawk was alive. I forgot he never told Yoon that. So shocked even the art style changed. As Yoon is just stunned in this very none of the detailed, not quite color work, but you know what I mean. Just stark white with black outlines, and his shock and what the fuckness at Hawk's return. So shocked even the art style changed. Huh? The Thunder Beast, chapter 232, drawing towards the prophetic dream, which is very ominous given the part of the dream that Yona reminded us of last chapter of all the dead people. And Hawk just looks at him, yeah? Hawk forgot that he was supposed to be dead for a while. Yeah, you're alive! Thunder Beast is alive! And Yona's and I think this is Hawk's, realizing that Yoon didn't know. And Yona tells him, I know, right? Hawk survived the flooding. And Hawk is just, sorry for not telling you right away. I knew you were alive. I knew it, but... And he's joke punching Hawk. You worried me, idiot! And I think this is Kyoga's line who stops him. Hey. Oh no, it's Val. If you want to talk, get down. Because Val, we still don't know how exactly they got out of Kudo, but Val is not doing well. And I think that brief little clash with Hawk from the end of last chapter did not help him much either. Sorry, Val. And Yoon and the squirrels get down, and Val slumps over, and Yoon catches him. Val? And they lay him on the ground. As we cut to the South Kai army camp across the border, where Kaji is still kicking. Last we left him, he had been struck down by Hawk, but I guess not killed as he's alive. I think it was left a little vague, as I recall. And someone comes in, Kaji, I brought food. And I think that's the general that like we were introduced to alongside Val. And Kaji greets him, General Haitan. I thank you for your care. And Haitan notes, I see you've learned to speak courteously. It appears that the man who wounded you was the same who stood off against Kurau and Ra'an. Who is he? Because they I guess don't know anything about Hawk. I don't know. I thought he would pursue me, but he grabbed my pouch and rode off. Because Kaji still does not know the significance of the Senjutsu. Just that Hawk wanted it and he was going to be a dick about it. Why would he? Beats me. I can't make it through another battle in this condition. But I must rescue Lady Mei-Nyan. Which, I'm curious if we're about to see Chagol and Mei-Nyan coming right through here. Because, I don't know, all of a sudden my brain is focusing on the shared use of the idea of a rescue mission between Yoon and Val and Kaji. Because everyone wants to rescue Mei-Nyan. They just have very different ideas of what rescuing Mei-Nyan means. But I'm wondering if Kaji would see Mei-Nyan with Chagol and also want to rescue her from Chagol? I don't know. We'll see what comes through with all that. But Haitan tells him, Lady Mei-Nyan will be alright. Val will reach her before long. You will be assigned in the rear for the next battle. And Kaji just thinks, this might be Haitan. It's a little hard to tell who it is. We're in no shape to fight, but there's been no order to retreat. Who is the standing general here? Because, Kurau is dead. I think the only generals who are here are Ra'an, Haitan, and Kaji. One of them, maybe, does Chagol have to personally show up and give the order to retreat? Is that how the South Kai military works? I don't know. It's a mess. Hurry and come back, Val. Though, given Val's betrayal, that's not happening anytime soon. Someone comes in, part of the intrusion, General Haitan, General Kaji. And it's Ra'an that Haitan sees. Ra'an, what is the matter? And Ra'an tells them, His Majesty Chagol has arrived. Everything's about to blow up in South Kai right now. His Majesty Chagol? All the way from Yukio? No, it seems that our lord has come from Hiryuu Castle, along with Lady Mei-Nyan. And that gets Kaji's attention. Because of course it does. And then we cut to all three of them, the whole South Kai army, prostrating themselves in front of him, in front of Chagol. The three generals bowing, all of them beat up. And I doubt Chagol is going to be terribly pleased, especially with Ra'an's, broken arm and eye and all that. Anyway, Chagol addresses them, I have come, and yet you all look dejected. And Haitan thinks that His Highness would leave the castle, and says out loud, Our sincere apologies. It is our utmost honor to be able to meet your Highness here. Lip service, huh? Well, it matters not. I happen to be in a good mood today. Heed me well. I've burned Hiryuu Castle to the ground. And all the generals look up at him, shocked to hear the news. And before long, their morale will also follow suit. Perhaps some of them will return to Kudo. And Haitan chimes in, then this war will soon come to an end. Suwon will concede. Well, given what we saw from the last chapter, I'm not quite sure morale will fall. Suwon is still sort of keeping abreast of morale by keeping the troops in the Earth Tribe lands, rather than uprooting them and causing that morale to fall. So I don't know. I'm not quite sure that they will have the intended effect that Chagol wants. Anyway, Haitan says Suwon will concede. And the soldiers all react. Amazing! Lord Chagol has vanquished Hiryuu Castle. He is truly the rightful emperor of the Kai Kingdom. Kai Kingdom is interesting, as he's normally referred to as an empire, but okay. And someone thinks, I think this is probably still Haitan, while we were sitting on our hands, the Phoenix of Kai has devoured the Dragon of Koka. And Chagol tells them, I shall forgive all you fools. I'm not sure what he's forgiving them for. I guess for not working hard enough, for not winning. Stand. Now's the time to make things right, warriors of the Phoenix. Crush them like the worms they are. And I love the depiction of the cheering soldiers here. like, they don't look like people cheering, they look like masks. Like, it reminds me of to go back on my mob vibes from my mob rewatch I referenced a few times now, Dimple's mask at the start of this series, the sort of, like, forever grinning mask of lies. Is an interesting effect there. It adds to the horror, but it also adds to the sense that, like, there's a little bit of unreality here. I don't know. Emperor Chagol! Long live Emperor Chagol! And Haichan just gives his little half grin. He managed to rekindle the waning morale of our troops just like that. To think that he personally went to Hiryuu Castle. Our lord is truly, truly unpredictable. Though we'll see how any of the reactions hold up once Mei-Nyan appears. And then Chagol asks, that reminds me, has Kura'u died? Yes. We have a single flash of Kura'u. He was a foolish but charming brother. Oh, did we know he was Chagol's brother? I don't remember him mentioning that. But Kura'u asks, who killed him? And we have this flash of Hawk, as Ra'an informs him, a man by the name of Hawk. He is without a doubt the strongest warrior and cornerstone of the Koka kingdom. Hawk. Then I shall reward the one who takes his head. Soldiers under the rank of lieutenant general will be granted Kura'u's place. And what about above? I guess if they're a general, they don't need to be a general. They don't need to be advanced to general. And the soldiers react. One of the 8 generals. But Kaji interrupts. Your Excellency, if I may have a word, speak. Is Lady Mei-Nyan well? And we'll see how Chagol handles that, because I don't think Kaji will take too well if anything's happened to Mei-Nyan. The cat is resting in the carriage. Is she ill? It is none of your concern. So he shut that down for now. The boost in morale means that Kaji is not really focusing on Mei-Nyan right now. Forgive me. Haichan goes on, Your Majesty, when will General Val reconvene with us? And now let's see how Chagol spins this. Because even just Val's betrayal will be a hit to the South Kai morale. But if it gets out why he betrayed them for Mei-Nyan, that's going to put Kaji into a tailspin. And he lies. That's what he does. Val is dead. So at some point, Val will show up on the battlefield with Koka, maybe on this Mei-Nyan rescue mission that Yoon wants to start, and that's gonna fuck all of Chagol's plans up. Or no, I think Chagol might actually believe that he's dead, because he actually is honest. Dead? It can't be. What happened in Koka? And Chagol tells him straight up. He betrayed me, so I punished him. Val betrayed us? Which shakes Haichan, Kaji, Ra'an, and all the troops to their core. That just the idea of this. General Val? A traitor? But the Dromos have yet to return, so he might still be alive. And if he truly is, execute him. Okay, so Chagol's well aware that maybe he didn't succeed in killing Val. Though again, if word gets out as to why Val betrayed them, given especially Kaji's devotion to Mei-Nyan, that could be the move that takes down the whole house of cards here. Sparing him will be an act of treason. And we see Haichan just in shock at just the notion that just like not killing Val is treasonous. Kaji reacts, I can't believe it. General Val, there's no way he's a traitor. And then he hears something and he looks up and we see the carriage. And like the curtains of the carriage blow in the wind. And he sees Mei-Nyan looking basically catatonic in there. Which, I assume Kaji knows the bond between Mei-Nyan and Val. And I think right now Kaji is kind of the character to focus on. Because Kaji and Haichan, honestly, all 3 of these guys could turn the moment's notice. Ra'an's respect for Hawk could turn him. Haichan's bond with Val. Kaji's bond with Mei-Nyan. All 3 of the generals here could turn traitor at any second. They're all sort of being primed for it. Ra'an not as much as the other 2, but Haichan and Kaji especially. But as Kaji sees Mei-Nyan, we cut to the Koka camp. As Val wakes up, wrapped in bandages, but alive, not just killed where he was. Where am I? My blades aren't here. And we cut to Hawk on the floor of the tent. Your blades are right here. Thought I could borrow them for a bit. Dual knives, eh? These are pretty good. And Val recognizes him from their clash on the horse. He's that man. If I don't use my full strength, I die for sure. But Hawk tells him, hey, don't wriggle around too much, unless you're trying to head for an empty grave. And Val just looks at him and gets up as if to fight him. Again, assuming that like a Coca soldier would be a clear enemy, and Hawk does get up to meet him in this like fist fight. Whoa! And Yoon runs into the room and stops this. Why are you fighting? Are you trying to die? Eat this and stay put. And it slams like a plate in front of Val. Now that it's come to this, you're also my patient, Val. Your words will worsen if you don't listen. Your wounds will worsen if you don't listen. And Hawk tells him, see, I told you not to move. Yoon's commands are absolute. But Yoon just gets on to Hawk then, and that's rich coming from you. And we hear a rustling, and Yoon looks over to see Sheena, who's grabbing for something, I guess. And then I think this is Zeno who comes over. Let me get it for you, Blue Dragon. What do you want to eat? And Sheena just tells him, something to give little Ho. And we see Ho over there, hiding under a blanket. Baby Ow trying to, like, coax her out of it. She's afraid of unfamiliar places. And then we see Hawk. Hawk is, like, kind of joking, like, being a great nurse for the dragons, who are all still stuck in bed after their incident last chapter. As Hawk tries to feed Kija a snake. Open wide, white snake. It's a roasted snake. Which is just very, very, like, teasing. Wait, no snakes, please. Quit being so picky. And Jaeha just laughs. Give me something too, Hawk. Sure thing. Better open wide or I'll miss the throw. He's gonna, like, yeet the snake into his mouth. You're such a bully. And then, I think this is Yoon turning to Val. You should dig in too. Oh no, this is Hawk still. Why are you helping me? Am I not a captive? If you plan on interrogating or jailing me, I will put up a fight. And as Zeno's just, like, casually eating in the background, as Hawk tells Val, I heard. You saved Yoon. Do I need any other reason to share a meal with you? Come on. Eat and get your strength back. And we're seeing, like, the clear distinction between Yona's gang and Kai is that, like, Kai is already declared has declared Val an enemy of the state, whereas the guys Val was actually trying to bring down have decided he's, like, their new best friend. Because they're just such good people here. And Val is taken aback at the kindness he's shown. As Zeno tells him, you might be feeling down because you're all on your own, but you're actually really lucky. Huh? And Jaeha from his bed calls out, yup, because you made Yoon your ally. And Kija adds on, excuse me, and having Yoon as your ally includes us as well. And then we see Sheena just, like, watching the squirrels share an apple. And Hawk adds in, not to mention our princess, too. And then we cut to Yona, who is not looking terribly happy. He's looking tired and exhausted and just done. We see she's meeting with Suwon and Kaisuk. And I'm not quite sure which of them asked this question of her. You wish to leave for South Kai with the Thunder Beast in order to save Lady Mei-Nyan, all while bringing the captive and former General Val. And Yona just tells him straight up, yes. And Kaisuk presses, why? I feel that I must. And I think this is Kaisuk's line, that's not an answer. Chagol will start his invasion of Koka in earnest now. Why do you feel the need to act after a single captive has been taken? Well, I mean, they don't really want Mei-Nyan there, given what she knows. As Yona points out, she suffers from the same disease as Suwon. Isn't it dangerous for her to be in enemy hands? Considering what Lady Mei-Nyan may reveal, it would be better for her to be dead. Maybe. I mean, that's a Kaisuk response, given his general coldness, but also, you don't know if she's dead. And that's a big problem. That's a loose end. As Chagol knows, and is sort of like, Val might be alive, make sure he isn't. But Kaisok is just like, let's let Chagol just be done with her, and that's a dangerous game to play. And Yona looks at him at that, not really approving of his response, and Kaisok goes on. The 4 dragons are unwell, and we are in the midst of a war. If you were to go absent, and Yona questions, I'm needed? I understand for Hawk and the dragons, but is my presence really that helpful? Which is getting at, I guess, what Kaisok has not made clear to Yona that he's aware of. Whether or not Yona's aware of it or not, this might just be her sort of like pressing to see what they know. But like Yona has become this symbol, and Kaisok is well aware of that. And again, I'm not sure if Yona does know, or if this is like genuine her not realizing that, or like if she's pressing to see if Suwon and Kaisok have realized the value she holds. And Kaisok just mutters, "That's." And then we cut to Suwon, who tells her straight up, "You are." And I want to put that not in relation to Kaisok's musings about the role that Yona plays in morale now, but the value that Suwon has realized that he places on Hawk and Yona. He's realized, oh, I really care about these people. And so her presence is valuable, not strategically, but just for Suwon. And there's this moment as Yona takes that in, and Suwon goes on, in any case, I plead you to refrain from making any rash decisions, considering that our reinforcements from the castle are cut out. And that's Kaisok's line, and then Suwon interrupts him. On that topic, we have reinforcements coming our way. And Kaisok is not quite on board with whatever this means. You called for them, haven't you? I doubt they will obediently comply and come to our aid, though. I don't know who they are. Or maybe so. Because we see who it is. Your Majesty Suwon, reinforcements. The Xing Kingdom, Queen Koren, and her troops have arrived. Okay. It's been a while since the Xing arc. I've forgotten a lot of the details in the Xing arc. But we're getting follow-up to that. Koren, monarch of Xing, and her army of 10,000 have answered our terms of alliance. We are by nature peaceful people who scorn upon war, but let us answer their summon, and repay Yona's generosity. The bonds forged by Yona and her friends on their journey have become Koka's strength. Chapter 232 end, next chapter November 5th. I will have to refresh myself on the characters in the Xing arc, because we see them, Koren and I forget what the name for our attendant group was. I remember there was like the split, the civil war, the priest, right, who was manipulating Koren's sister, I think, and some of the I think it was like the stars or something. They allied with the sister, and I think that most of them died. I think the blondie and the masked guy were like the early allies, right? It's been a while since the Xing arc, is my point. I read this arc in college. It was a long, long time ago. But because we only cover that at the end, I don't really have to get into it for this video. We'll get to it next time as Xing enters into the story. Instead, the real thing I want to focus on is that Chagol scene. You know, there's a little bit, there's some important stuff in the other scenes with, you know, just the lighthearted fun of Yoon realizing Hawk is alive is a real sweet scene. And the sort of welcoming of Val into the group due to his bond with Yoon is another sweet scene. But the Chagol scene is definitely the most important. Especially as it seems to show the splinters in South Kai. You know, each of the three generals here are starting to get a reason why they might betray Chagol. Ra'an is like the flimsiest. He's just like, you know, his respect for Hawk might push him to sort of spare Hawk in the end, as Hawk spared him during the flooding of Keen. Haitan, you know, we know he has that friendship with Val, and so Val's betrayal will either lead him further into Chagol's hands, as just like pure rage at the betrayal of his friend, or it will push him away from Chagol forever. Kaji, I think, is definitely going to turn. His bond with Mei-Nyan is too strong. It is his driving force. And Mei-Nyan is clearly not doing well. Just like the glimpse he has of her in the carriage is very like, oh, something's wrong. He doesn't know what's wrong yet, but like that little questioning bit of like not even, of barely processing that that's her. He knows something's, I feel like he knows that something is not right. I don't think he's quite understood what is going on here, and that Coca was far kinder to Mei-Nyan than Kai has ever been. But we'll see how that influences him in the coming chapters. And then again, we have that cute scene as Val sort of ingratiated into the gang. And Yona tries to get the whole gang out to South Kai. And we'll see if the arrival of Xing makes that easier or harder. Maybe with reinforcements they'll see Yona as less necessary and will allow her to do like a stealth mission to go rescue Mei-Nyan. I don't know. But the great character beat there is Suwon not quite fully admitting that, like, yes, Yona's, like, he has admitted to himself how important Yona is to him, but he's not quite at the point where he's admitting to her how important Yona is to him. But we'll get there. We'll get there with time. He's almost admits it with the yes you are. He plays it off as like the military importance, but it also is Yona's importance to him. And now Xing is here. And again, I don't have a lot to say about Xing right now. My last point I want to make before I close out the video is the title, Drawing Towards the Prophetic Dream. Because the dream is not really mentioned in this chapter at all. It's briefly mentioned when Kyoga is like, oh, okay, so the dream was true. There was a fire. Those dreams are right. But beyond that, it's not really brought up. And there's no immediate sense within the narrative that things are reaching the point of the dragons and was the dragon Suwon and Mei-Nyan who she saw in the coffins, that's any closer. But that title very much implies that something here, either Chagol's boost of morale, maybe Yona sneaking into South Kai, somehow the arrival of Xing, something here is drawing us closer to that fate, unless something happens. I don't know how they're going to avoid that, but that sort of is what all this is implying, that dream is coming true in a terrible way. And we'll just have to see how that terror ends up taking shape. So with that said, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe or, do whatever makes you happy, And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!